I sincerely am stressed. Through my training, through my experience, I have been brought up believing that giving up or being stressed is a weakness. But I sincerely am stressed. Kenya, during the Moi and Jomo Kenyatta time, there was a lot of things, especially issues to do with security, that could not be documented anywhere. And any slight documentation was signing one's own death warrant. A lot of people used that opportunity to keep everything to themselves. And even after KANU days were over, or even toward the end of Moi time, there were cases where government agents would go around trying to investigate whether one has any information on this or that. So you find that you may not believe it, but some of us killed the information in us. It just happened that at one time, when you open up and you start talking, is when you find when it is being recorded on video or even audio, you find that when it is played back to you, you learn it as if you're learning it for the first time. It is very hard for somebody who has not gone through it not to understand. There are a few occasions when I've talked and later I learn the history of Kenya through what I've said. And I can't explain that. You'll find that people are getting old. Everybody's getting old. You'll find that for somebody to be in a good position, to get information, to be well placed in the government so as to get deep information, one has to be about 35 years, at least 35 years. J.M. Karaoke died in 1975. So you find that a person who was in the thick of things when J.M. Karaoke died was born 75 minus 35, that is 40, was born in around 1940. How many people do you see around who were born in 1940? And even we who were born later, you find that at times there are occasions, like since Moi went, it is now 20 years. I have gone through some of the documentation that I recorded immediately immediately Kibaki took over. And I find that some of the things, if I would not have had that privilege of recording that same time, by now I would have forgotten. A lot of our colleagues have died. And we are also dying. Nobody will live forever. But then here comes the problem. How do you record an important information in Kenya? We have some people, Karaito Murungi, we have Kabugi Karanja, John Keane, and so on. Also have Kabugi Karanja died suddenly, heart attack, and he had no signs of death. But he used to tell some journalists that they will assist him publish his memos. Every time they would meet, he would postpone the time. Every time they meet, they would postpone. He died without writing anything substantive. John Keane, when he died, 3 publishers came up with manuscripts, each claiming that he had authority from John Keane. John Keane is dead, so and I did not have the privilege of asking him whatever. But he may have gone through the same experience I'm going through, which led me to record this. You write something, and all journalists rush to you. They want to get your manuscript, including one of the journalists used to be 2 classes behind me at Nairobi Technical. They rush to you, they want your manuscript, you give them the manuscript, then they start playing hiding game. You call him, especially let me talk of my former school alumni. You call him, he either goes to a place where it is noisy, or pretends that he has a hoarse voice, or that you're not clear. But then you send a message through WhatsApp explaining exactly what you want, and he blacklists you. There is need for our manuscript to be written while we are fairly young and alive. There is need for editors to come and pinpoint things that don't make sense, ask us. Now, if I'm dead and they ask my widow to clarify, the way I know my wife is that even those times when I'm seen on TV and you ask her what I've just said, she does. I mean, so asking her to elaborate this or that would be a problem when I'm gone. There is also an element of the book may bring some financial reward. Why don't I get it when I'm alive? I have seen my book is unique, and that is why I'm having problems with publishers. The first one is there are some publishing houses which, even without, they would just first of all ask you either through email or WhatsApp to briefly explain what your book entitles. And once you tell them, they say no. You see, some of these publishers have an interest in publishing school books. So they see that publishing your book may block them there. But then we have a good number of publishers. I think my manuscript is with more than a dozen people, different people. I think there is an expedition going there. Someone wants to, and the technology today is so different that if you have an idea and somebody publishes it, when you yourself now are capable of publishing it later, you'll be told that it is not your information. But my information is so unique that nobody else can come and write and even copy a page from that. Why am I saying so? It is only me who was with Captain Werunga, Simi Werunga, a pilot. It is only me who was with Nkaisere, Mulinge, Lotodo in the lottery operation in West Pokot. It is only me who knows the District Security Committee in Wajir during Wagala, the Provincial Security Committee, and the National Security and Advisory Committee at the time of Wagala massacre. So some of these things that I talk are so unique. But you'll find that in Kenya now, I am supposed to, there is an editor, a publisher and editor who has a PhD. I think he's from Meru. He told me that he has my manuscript, yes, and he said that for him to edit my manuscript, I have to pay him. He wanted now us to talk, and he said, I am a PhD in literature. Now I have to pay him so that he edits and returns the manuscript to me. At the time of recording this thing, I had the school fees arrears of 120,000, Where do I get a similar amount to pay a PhD in literature? Then he returns it to me. Publishers have found publishers. A good number of publishers say that since the book is sensitive and whatever, I have to pay upfront. Fellow Kenyans, we have reached a stage where only the rich can publish their memos. I'm not saying that the rich cheat, no. I'm not even, but in fact, cheating has no class, teaching has no tribe, teaching has nothing. Cheater is a cheater. Even we poor people cheat. But for a poor person to have his manuscript, his memos printed, it is impossible. The only thing is maybe when I'm dead and all the papers are plashed, and then people will now confuse my widow and my immediate family with money, allow us to publish. But we poor people cannot publish our memos. I'm supposed to, as I said, pay an editor from my pocket. Then after paying an editor from my pocket, I am supposed to go to a publishing house where a book, from what I'm told, my book is supposed to cost around 1,000 shillings per copy. Now, if I have to publish 10,000 books, I have to look for 10 million shillings publish. I even do not know whether I can recoup what I placed there. And yet,